Hey everybody, Dr. Mike Dusa. Yes, we started a little late. Technical gaffes and errors on my from me now. So it's good to be consistent. At least you know what's coming. How are you all? I got a good dear friend of mine and a friend of many of you, at least regionally here, a friend of yours. His name is John Saville, a very good bodybuilder, a very good businessman, a very good professional in his industry, but a very good human. And you've heard me many times when I say goodnight to whoever it is we're talking to. And I say this to everyone because we are selective in who we bring on here. I've had some suggestions of certain high level people, but I happen to know that their character is a little, maybe not where it should be. So we just don't talk to him. Maybe there's some issues. But John I'm happy that he exists. He's aside from all the other superlatives I just threw out, he's a good man, a good human. He makes you feel good. He makes me smile. And in these times with all the gloom and doom that those dark ministers of sadness put out every single day, we have John, who is a crackling bolt of illumination in the darkness. And I'm happy here. But John started bodybuilding a long time ago. He started when he was 30. He met me and my group and our trainers. And he's been a very good bodybuilder over the years. He competed in a lot of natural shows, won many of them. And he's one of the top DJs, personalities on the iHeart network, which is a very big network. And he's been on there for years and years and years. I know my Aunt Rosalie loves him. And
I love her. I love her.
She may chime in tonight. He's been one of those guys. He's been commemorated in magazines and all kinds of cool stuff. And he's been in the bodybuilding magazines when they used to exist. And he's got a really good business where he helps a lot of people. So ultimately, that's what it's all about. We try to disseminate information that's helpful to you, and that's why we do this. Do the 30 to 45 minutes here. Anytime you want to ask a question, we will entertain all your questions, thoughts, statements, and considerations. As always, be nice or you will be blocked. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, Michael. How are you?
It's always like a holiday on my end, even when it isn't. As long as you keep saying it, it kind of indoctrinates you.
Yeah.
So you're looking good as always, man. You can tell us some personal things, but we know that the portal of entry here is fitness. So how did you start out? You're from Greater New Haven area and here in Connecticut. So we were discussing a little bit. Tell us how you started out and where you went from there.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the North Branford area, right up on West Pond Road, Sea Hill Road, here in the local area. And when I was 12 years old, moved to Guilford at that point. And we've been here ever since. Love where I am in North Guilford, up by Lake Quantipoc, set back in the woods. So it's just it's just wonderful to be close to nature and just hang out here and just enjoy life.
I was telling you, one of our members said that, me and Rich Gaspari, who's been on a couple of times, we have the best voices in bodybuilding, but not with your dulcet tones. In fact, I'm going to be quiet tonight because I don't want anybody comparing.
No, you sound great, Mike. You sound
great.
No,
you're the man. You're the man. So you were a great athlete in high school. I know that.
Yeah, matter of fact, went to high school, way back in the dark ages, and played football, baseball, track, wrestling, and did quite well there. I was actually scouted by the Red Sox as a pitcher at one time. Guy's name was Bill Landis. Lived up by Guilford High School. Happened to catch me pitching one time, but much to the chagrin of my dad, Mike, he wanted me to be a professional athlete. He kind of lived vicariously through me. Right. But I knew ever since I was a kid, even like in 5, 6 years old, that I wanted to be in the radio biz. I mean, I used to interview people when they would come into the house when I was a little kid. My dad and mom would put me up on a table. I'd have a pencil and I would interview them. Or I'd play songs to do my Casey Kasem type thing back in the day.
John, where did that come from? Because that's a real gift if you know. Where did that come from? Was it just
I always had a major love for music. And I really got involved in the radio biz, not so much to be a radio star, but to share my love for music, all different genres. And my mom and dad were very, very cool. We lived in a very, very vibrant musical household. They listened to everything. And that's why I have such an appreciation for all kinds of music. I've never been a musical snob. I love everything. I keep an open mind about things.
John, John, how about rap?
I mean, a hardcore rap, not a big fan of, or real hard heavy metal, but I love hip hop, and I love pretty much all kinds of music. But I mean, the hardcore rap, I kind of draw a line when you lose the melody, you lose me a little bit.
Yeah. So you knew that you at least knew in your soul. And let me ask you, your physicality in high school, because you didn't really start training with weights until you were about 30. In high school, you might have been a little ahead of me. You know, I was 1982. But was there even for football? Were you guys even required to lift weights back then?
Yeah, lifting weights was kind of optional back then.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they were a little bit nervous back then, thinking it was going to make you muscle bound, because that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
they thought back then. But we did lift weights, 3 or 4 days a week. We did a lot of a lot of body exercises, a lot of isometrics. So I was still in pretty good shape. I was heavier back in high school, about 215, 220 when I was playing football and wrestling. And I'm a little bit lighter than that now, but I've trimmed up as I've gotten older.
And you're about 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'1", about 210.
I was saying, we were talking beforehand. I remember your first contest, and I had just met you about that point out in Terrytown. And, you're wearing a sweatsuit, and Cheech introduced our trainer, Cheech. And I said, hey, good luck. And, you can't tell in clothes. And you went up on stage. I'm like, holy Moses, he's big. He appears big. But the thing is, when you're taller, especially over 6 foot, it's a lot harder to look filled out.
Right.
And you did. It's harder,
Yeah, it is. I mean, I always had a really good upper body. My legs, they're okay. They were always cut and lean, but I never had the big legs.
Right. It's hard.
But I was still able to win the shows because I was still able to get myself symmetrical. And as you know, it's all about posing and just getting up there and maximizing the angles, knowing how to play the judges.
Yes.
I've been able to win a bunch of shows over the years just by knowing how to do that.
John, training today, would you say that you still, well, it's hard to be, you still go as intensely or as heavy, or do you have to train differently now, more machines versus, because, when you get older, we've got a lot of an older population here, injuries, the body doesn't respond as well. Do you have any of those issues going on?
Yeah, I've been really, really fortunate, Mike, because I've been very, very strict with my nutrition, and I'm really big into plant-based supplements too. And I just figured, even over 60 right now, I've never had any surgeries, knock on wood. And I've never had any real major issues with my body outside of the aches and pains once in a while after a challenging workout, or the lower back issues. Every now and then I would go to a chiropractor. But I'm all about natural path. I mean, I'm not into the medical aspect of things. I prefer to do everything homeopathic, let the body heal itself when at all possible. And so far, so good.
Knock on wood. And John, as he mentioned, is over 60, and he's probably in the top 10 of heads of hair that we've ever had on here. So we're doing well. Here,
top 10 heads of hair. There's a little bit of help here, Mike.
Yeah, well, as long as it stays in your head, like I always say. Hi, Michael and John. It says Facebook user. I mentioned this last time, folks. I do have a new system here. It's upgraded, but there's a link at the top of the chat box wherever you guys are looking, and you got to kind of push that button. That way, it'll give us your name. So, Facebook user, thank you. I have a feeling I might know who that is, but hello back to you. And remember, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Yeah, please, folks. I love questions. I mean, there's no such dumb question. Fire away, please.
We'll get them. They want to know. They want to know what you're all about and how you do what you do. So, what was broadcasting by any chance? Did you have?
Yeah, matter of fact, I did. Mike, right after high school, I took a year off between high school and college, and I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Met some amazing people there. Cut my chops on learning how to edit and doing news and sports and weather and doing DJ chat. So I met a lot of great personalities, a lot of people who were heroes of mine. And I learned. And then eventually I went to Southern Connecticut State College at the time before it became university. Yeah. That shows you how archaic I am. and I got involved with the college radio station. And I thought it was a big deal because it was 6:40 a.m. and people can actually listen to me in the dorms, in the parking lot in their cars, and also in the cafeteria below the radio station. So I thought that was a big deal back then, that people can actually listen to me in a parking lot.
Hey, John, I have a question, because I've taught university. I had a 9-year college career. I don't think anyone, I've got 2 degrees, 2 bachelors and a doctorate, but believe me, looking back, I don't know if I would do it the same way. But the point is this: you go to CSB. Now, you obviously have the knack, you have the personage, the personality, the voice, all that. But does that guarantee that you're gonna get a radio gig just because you go to a school like that?
Mean, there's no guarantees in life anyway. I mean, you can go there, do what you can, but you got to go out there and just be willing to put yourself out there.
Right.
And as you know, I mean, a lot of people don't want to go out there and put themselves in a position to be rejected. And the most successful people in the world are rejected the most.
Thick skin. You have thick skin, John?
Yeah, I have to have thick skin because I mean the first couple of jobs I went to, no, I mean I was rejected by a small 1,000-watt radio station in Old Saybrook my first time around.
Are they still around?
I don't think so. But the woman at the time told me I needed some work and some things, and I respected her. She was an amazing woman, and I look at that and I just took it. I'm able to take criticism fairly well, especially from somebody I respect, and the way they do it, she did it in a very kind way. But I was able to maybe go like 2 months later to WKCI, which is KC 101, WAVZ, and I got my first job there. And that station's a powerhouse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it was back in 1980 when I first got my start.
That was 1980?
1980, 40 years ago, I went to KC 101, WAVZ, was their AM station, and I worked at WPLR right after that when we picked our own music.
Wow.
I mean, nowadays, everything is on computer.
John,
you were able to pick your own songs back then.
John, you just said 40 years ago. Did you know? I'm 57. You're a little
63.
63. Yep. God bless you. But did you know if it was like 1910, the year 1910, we'd be dead because the mortality of the average U.S. male is 46. So and here you and I, we're talking about 40 years past.
I plan on being around for a long time just by making the right decisions. Plus, I need to be around here to pester my bride a little bit more.
Yeah. It beats the alternative. One of our members says, John, were you at Country 92.5?
Yes, I am at Country 92.5. I'm the only original member still left.
Wow.
They switched over to Country in 1988. I was programming the station from 88 to about 2000. I'm still on the radio every weekend doing fill-ins. Plus, I work at the River 105.9 and Kiss 95.7.
It sounds like I'm on the radio with you right now, your voice, because all of a sudden you hear it and you don't even have to see you. And I'm like, hey, I know that guy. Amy Koch-Molesky, John, Tom, and I are your biggest fans, and she put a heart. So
now, Amy and Tom Molesky are amazing people. I mean, I've been working with them with their health and wellness regime, Mike, and you could appreciate this. And
yeah, we're going to have you talk about what you do because it's interesting.
The discipline of what they've been able to accomplish. They've been like two of the greatest clients I've ever had because they're coachable. You and I both know it's all about coachability and accountability. So many people go off the reservation and wonder why they're not having success. It's just about finding a plan that works, sticking with it, and just focus on the journey. Don't focus on, the end. Focus on where you're going and just follow the advice of somebody you respect.
Tom and Amy Koch-Molesky, don't be shy about writing down the superlatives. Tell us if John is the real deal. I know he is. We need people. We need testimonials. Very black Saville. See, I didn't want to call you that until somebody brought it up. Barry Rhodes.
Hey, Barry, how are you? Thanks a lot, buddy. I really appreciate you because I always say all the time, without people like you, I don't have a job.
It's huge.
And I've never forgotten that. My dad always told me, never forget your roots and where you came from.
Never.
And it's people like you, Barry, that keep me in work. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, Barry's been a good member of mine for a long time. Then we got Joan Anthonis. She says, I am listening.
Oh, hey, Joan Anthonis. Is that Joan Anthonis?
Yeah, Anthonis. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think if that's the Joan Anthonis I'm thinking of, that could be my aunt.
No kidding.
Yeah, Aunt Joan. Love her.
Aunt Joan, thank you to your family and your brothers and sisters for bringing John to us because he's a good human. I'm happy he's here talking to us tonight.
Thank you, Aunt Joan and learning.
So, John, so training, so you started getting radio gigs, and was that a full-time thing back then?
It was. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice I had ever received in the radio biz was when I first got my first job back in 1980. The program director said, whatever you do, always have a backup plan. And it was really great advice because I went out, borrowed some money, and bought a sound system and booked in my first DJ gig for the Guilford Police Union.
John, hold on. I'm sorry. For people who are uninitiated like me, what is a sound system?
Oh, I went out and bought a DJ setup.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to go out there and DJ weddings and parties, class reunions. And I went out there and I hustled in the beginning because I had this sound system and I needed to go out there and just get some work. So I would go to all the schools and I said, listen, I'll do your first dance for free. And if you like me, pay me for the next one.
Smart.
Whatever it took to get my name out there to hustle, I would get it done.
Burning acid. Thomas Stacy. I remember Thomas Stacy from North Haven. Tom, I'm from North Haven too. He says you're running for governor. He calls you Governor John.
I call him Mayor Tom. He just had me on his show talking with Tom. It was a Zoom a week ago today, and he does a great job. He's an amazing guy, Michael, like you. He gives so much back to the community.
You have a sister, Claire, right, Tom? I went to junior high with her.
Yeah, Claire's awesome. Hey,
oh, yeah, so I'm right. So my memory is
you're right. You're right.
There's not that much rust in there. Amy Koch-Molesky says, John is Caps the real deal. In 6 weeks, Tom and I have both lost 23 pounds and becoming physically fit again. Congratulations, Amy and Tom, because most people fail right there. I know that sounds bad, but overall, most people can't do that. Why is that, John?
Well, the thing is, like I said, most people aren't coachable. They're not accountable. And Amy and Tom, they check in every single day. And I got to give kudos to my wife, Patty, because she basically runs this program that we have with so many people with our company. And we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. And Patty helps set them up with a program, what to eat, when to eat it. She does the measurements, the check-ins every couple of weeks. And she's been absolutely phenomenal. So we do this together as a team, as a couple. But Patty really has been just spearheading this on her own over the past year or so.
Yeah, Amy says Patty too, with a heart.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I have to ask you, because even with my clinic, when I owned my clinic, I had a weight loss division, and I had Mark Carano, if you remember Mark, Dr. Carano.
Mark Carano.
He was, it was like having Jack LaLanne with us. That's how good he was. But maybe like you, this happened to us, but why is it, do you think that, a guy like you impress as you are impressive, meaning you're the real deal, and you got the goods, you got the knowledge. Why is it still that you think some people just don't listen?
Because I think a lot of people want to do it their own way. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when I train people at the gym, I was the head trainer at some gyms in the past. And I would say to them, listen, if you follow everything I tell you to do, you journal your food, you show up, we're going to personalize a workout toward your needs, what they are. If you follow everything that I'm telling you to do and check in, accountability, you will succeed. It's impossible not to succeed if you follow this program, because we customize it to your needs based on, what you're looking for, and most people that would follow, everybody who followed it basically succeeded. And I would say, listen, give me 90 days. And if you're not happy after that, I'll give you your money back if you're not getting the results. I never had to give the money back ever, because even if they didn't succeed, they knew it was on them. I was always going to be accountable to them at the same time.
John,
but Amy and Tom are perfect examples of putting their ego aside and following the plan to a T, and they're reaping the rewards. People are going up to both of them. What are you doing? What are you doing? And they're just referring those people to Patty and myself.
John, where do you see society going? Because, everywhere I go, the government says America, 1/3 of people are obese. I call it more like 2/3, but, who knows?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Where do you see it going? Will it turn around, or are people going to?
I really don't. A lot of people are looking for that instant gratification. And when there's so much stress in the world like we have right now, people find comfort with food, and we all do. I mean, I'm guilty of that. My bride, Patty, and I were both guilty of that. We're human. We fall off the wagon. So we even tell that to the people that we coach. We screw up as well. We're very transparent with people. If you fall off the wagon, don't beat yourself up. Don't feel guilty. Start over again. Every single meal is a choice. You can start brand new, so don't beat yourself up. But you're right. I mean, the majority of the people will not get involved with something like this as far as a program, because they don't want to. They don't want to be held accountable.
Increased responsibility with success. Do you and Patty get over to and enjoy some on a cheat day Mike Katz's Marco Pizza by any chance?
Oh, Mike, I love Mike Katz. He's 50 years young today.
Yeah, I saw that.
The great Mike Katz. I love his dad, one of the great bodybuilders and human beings ever. And of course, Mike Jr., we all miss him over at Planet Fitness, and an amazing man. And Marco's Pizza is, my wife is even in the background. I love it. I love it. It is so good.
It's great. Mike Jr., he's 50 today. You remember him from Pumping Iron, hanging from his father's bicep when he was like maybe 7 years old. And here we are, just like we said, 40 years goes by just like that. So you competed for a long. Do you still enjoy competing, or do you feel it's something you can still do it, or it's just something that you do?
I think I needed a challenge when I hit 60. When I was 59, I said to Patty, I think I'm going to compete again. And I hadn't competed in about 15 years at that point.
It was that long?
15 years, yeah.
Wow.
And so I wanted to get back up again. People have been nudging me at the gym. You really should compete. You do really, really well in the 50+ category, and probably do very well top 5 and 40+ as well. And the only shows that I'll do are shows that are strict. You know, they're going to be a urine test. They're going to be the test. Everything's got to be tested to the max. And that's the only kind of a show I'll do. So we look more like gymnasts than bodybuilders.
I understand.
So I went into my first show. I won the Masters, 50 and 60+. I won again 50, 60+. I won again 50, 60+. And in one, I came in second 40+, and then fourth 40+. I was more proud of that because, you know, that's a 20, 22, 23-year, 20-year difference at the time with a lot of these guys.
That's something interesting to you, well, hopefully interesting, because you're in entertainment and you are an entertainer. I'm assuming that's correct, right? To a certain degree. You've got to keep people's interest. So most people still don't understand bodybuilding. It's always going to be a niche / cultish type of activity, which is fine. And you got these gigantic 300-pound guys now. The average person can't understand that. You mentioned something a few minutes ago about you looking like a gymnast. Now, whether that's true or not, you're developed beyond the pale versus an average person. But they could still look at you and say, hey, yeah, I want to look like that. That's number one. Number two, you're also a very good. So when you're displaying on stage, the average person who's never been to a show, they can go and watch you and understand what you're trying to convey. Is that important? These guys that are 300 and they just kind of lumber up there and throw a few punches?
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, I think, you know, being a body, like you said, you're an entertainer. People come out, they're sitting in the audience and they want a show. And when you go out there and even when I'm posing doing the show, they still want a show. They want some entertainment value. But when you go up there, you don't want to phone it in, because I don't want people to think this person just goes up on stage and doesn't give us anything. It feels like you've wasted their time. It's like anything else, even with my DJ business or anything else, I want to give people a show, or with radio. I'm not going to phone it in. I'm going to make sure that I show them the respect that they deserve for sitting in those seats and coming out. Even if they didn't come out to see me, I want them to feel like, God, this guy really worked hard. You know, he trained hard. He looked like he really took it seriously. He was up there posing. He looked like he was having fun. He was playing the crowd a little bit. And he had good sportsmanship. He was cheering on his competitors, because we're not competing with each other. We're all hanging out with each other, showing other people what can be done. So we'll be behind stage saying, guys, we represent maybe 0.1% of all the people in this country that will ever do this. And we feel like we're this really cool fraternity out there showcasing what can be done, inspiring people that they don't have to look a certain way at a certain age.
John, you've done a lot of things in your life, interesting things, successful things, over, you know, far afield from where you are right now. But would you say that, and believe me, answer this any way you want. It almost sounds like I'm leading you to an answer, but would you say one of the hardest things that you can do is go on stage with hardly any clothes on, under unforgiving lights, and throw a strange contorted pose and hope people clap?
Yeah. I mean, the first time I went up there after not being there for 15 years, I mean, I was praying at the time. I do a lot of prayer and just going out there. But I take the attitude that these people are there to cheer me on, because they know that we're doing something that they would never do, that most people will never, ever do. So we just go out there and you have that confidence. You've been training for 5, 6, 7, 8 months. You've been, dieting. You've been doing everything on point. And when you go out there, you know that you know that you know. And you look good. And you're going to go out there and show what you got.
John, how hard do you have, everybody's different. How do you handle the diet for a contest, and how hard do you have to diet in order to get in good form? And how does Patty enjoy that along with you?
Well, Patty wasn't so thrilled about it when I told her I was going to compete. And then when I did 2 shows that first time back in 16, and then I did shows in 17 and 18, he says, oh, here we go. Well, here we go again. We're going to have to go out to the restaurant and live on air and broccoli. But the good thing is, at least we eat pretty clean anyway.
Right.
So the nutrition didn't really bother me that much. I didn't really have the mood swings, because I think a lot of that happens maybe in the other kind of bodybuilding, if you know what I mean. I think the natural guys were not as mood swingy, and I enjoyed the journey. I loved it. And I would still be joking and talking to people at the gym. I never had the attitude like a lot of guys, you see them competing. They have the sweats on, they have the big water bottle. They don't want to talk to anybody. but I'm still out there, my goofy, gregarious self, talking to everybody. They're asking me how to do this exercise. It's 2 days before my show, and I'm still showing them what to do and talking. I enjoyed the whole journey because I realized this is fun. It's not like I'm doing this professionally to earn 100 grand or 100 million, whatever. I'm doing this for fun. So I had the right attitude, the right mindset.
John, if you were my patient and I was writing in a chart, one of the things I'd write is patient presents far younger to appear for their stated age. It's number one. Number two, you don't just have good health. You exhibit something that I call supra health, meaning average person should be, and our standards are way too low. We won't even get into that. But let me ask you a question. Your type of health and your lifestyle and being muscular as a byproduct of everything you do, does it help you on your job, your various jobs?
Oh, without question. You know, I mean, our greatest investment is our body. Got to take care of the vessel, you know, and when you do that, it's going to make you better at what you do. It's going to make you a better husband, a better wife, a better son, a better mother. You're going to go out there and feel more confident about yourself. Thus, it's going to benefit the workplace. You're going to be better at work. You're going to be better in social situations. You're going to be more of a giver because you feel good about yourself. And when you feel good about yourself and you're confident, you're going to accomplish a lot more.
John, in the if there is an off season, does your weight, do you fluctuate a lot, or you try to keep it within 10 or 15 pounds?
Yeah, within 10 or 15 pounds. When I compete, I'm about 194, 195. So I'm about, you know, I'm within 10 to 15 pounds of competition weight. But it wouldn't take me long to drop that.
I like to say that John Cadillac Saville probably has the most muscular arms in the entire family of iHeart radio stations. I could be wrong, but you know what? The odds are in your favor, you know.
Yeah, well, that's another advantage too, because I think I'm probably the oldest person in iHeart Radio, at least in the state of Connecticut. Maybe New England is still actively involved in multiple stations. But
well,
I think
wait, John, let me ask you: is your industry considered a young? Has it been affected by the internet and everything on the computer now?
Well, the thing is, iHeartRadio is the #1 producer of podcasts in the world too.
Oh.
And so they've really ventured into podcast and a lot of media. You know, a lot of people do, you know, a lot of streaming with us as well. So if anything, our brand has increased even with the competition of Sirius XM, which I'm a big fan of, Pandora, Spotify, even with all the competitive elements out there trying to attract ears. I mean, terrestrial radio has never been more popular. People want to hear their local personalities, local sports, local news, local weather, local contesting. They want to be a part of what's happening in their own backyard.
Are you
going through the roof?
Are you one of those guys everywhere you go, people know you?
A lot of times that happens, or they'll hear your voice.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes.
And they'll know the voice. But, you know, Patty and I will go to a lot of places, and one of the 3 different radio stations I work at will be playing it many times.
Just a point of interest, and I ironically saw this movie the other night, and I just want to know what you think about it. Private Parts with Howard Stern. Did you like that?
Howard Stern?
Oh, you know, his movie, Private Parts. It was.
Oh, Private Part, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Howard Stern is an amazing talent. The guy's brilliant. There's no question about it. I mean, and I think he's mellowed a little bit over the years, obviously. Yeah. He's a tremendous interviewer. None better. You know, but, you know, I mean, my kind of radio is a lot more. I mean, he's got more, but I always like to be more family friendly, positive, inclusive. I'm not a shock jock.
Oh no, you're not. You're not.
I'm very, very safe. When you listen to me, it's safe.
I don't think you can compare because you guys do 2 different things. But something you just said, what makes a good interviewer?
He's a great listener, just like you are. You know, you're asking the questions and you let people talk as the guest, and that's a sign of a great interviewer. And you listen. You listen to what that person is saying, because too many people. They're thinking about what they're going to say all the time, and they're not paying attention to what the person says. And when you do that way it allows you the flexibility of saying, oh, you said that. Speaking of that, what about this?
Yeah.
And that's so important, to listen to what people are saying and let them talk and finish their statement. And that's what you do so well.
Well, you know, you and I discussed it, and I talked to the people on here. It's just conversational. We don't really follow you know, if there's something a person doesn't want to talk about, we don't go there because, you know, why would we do that?
People want you to be transparent now. They want real. They don't want BS. Just come on, just be who you are.
John, would you agree that the average, no matter what your station is, we'll talk about you as a professional. I don't care if it's, I don't swear hardly at all anymore because YouTube will kick you off. Got to be careful now. It's like the proletariat. What was I going to say? You can have the shit shoveler from Sheboygan to the captain of highest industry. They can tell if you're not being authentic.
They sure can. And people are very, very bright. They can tell just basically, and when you meet them in person, by your body language, your eye contact, how you respond. And if you don't know the answer, say, listen, I don't know the answer, but I'll find out for you. Whatever. People would rather, they want authenticity. Don't BS them.
No.
Because the truth will always come out.
Well, it always eventually comes out. So tell us what you do. We're at about 30 minutes. We'll go a little over. I know you're bent on time. I had Roger Kaller on here for almost 3 hours. But
Roger Kaller's an amazing guy.
We had a lot of Hollywood stories from him. We couldn't drop it. So, and as long as people stick, in marketing or business or media, never be boring. That's what you start losing people quick, but that's not a problem tonight. But tell us how so taking everything that you've done, your body of work, and you probably take a little from everything you've done and something that's effective as a tool to help the people you work with now. So how do you help people in your business? Tell us about your health business, because that's what I'm, that's what.
Yeah, well, Patty and I, have been, regional directors of the largest online wellness shopping club in North America, Mike, over the past 6-7 years. And it's basically like a BJ's or a Costco. It's a membership shopping club. And everything we have is made fresh within like 2 to 8 weeks. So it's basically everything inside the aisles of a store we have, but everything's made fresh. We don't cut corners on ingredients. We're privately held. We're debt-free. So people, instead of going to the stores, they shop kind of like an Amazon, get it shipped to their front door, and everything's going to be better quality for them, their animals, their family, the environment. We were the first green-based company in the USA, so we were way ahead of our time. And with COVID, since March, where people want healthier supplements for their immune system, since they're all plant-based, our business has quadrupled over the past 6-7 months. So we've been helping so many people just shop for safer, healthier, American-made products, competitively priced, shipped to their front door with our company. And as a result, we've helped them feel better. But an offshoot of that is we also help them in their weight loss journeys, make better choices for their bodies. And that's kind of an offshoot of what we do with our shopping club business per se.
John, will you take anyone as a client, or is there a standard that, like let's say you get somebody who's unrealistic, or you kind of can tell that it's, they're going to be one of those people who can't be coached? Will you just kind of turn them down?
We'll listen to everybody. We'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We try not to judge people because we don't want to be judged. We're not going to prejudge anybody. If somebody reaches out for our help, Patty and I are the type of people we're never going to say no to them. We're going to listen to them. We may have like a silent preconceived notion of how they might respond, but that's not being nice. That's not being kind to them. Let them prove us wrong or let them prove us right, whatever the case may be. But if we feel like we can't help anybody, we're going to tell them, this is a little bit beyond what we can do. We're not going to look at somebody as a dollar sign. We look at people, can we help this person? Because if we can't, we're going to let them know up front, and they're going to respect you for that.
John, as far as nutrition programs, do you get into anything like intermittent fasting or keto or anything like that, or you just kind of keep it straightforward?
We keep it really straightforward. It's very practical. It's something that people can do on the run. It's all part of what they do anyway. It's real food, what they buy at the store, at the farm market. And then, of course, we have the proper plant-based supplements, which I'm a huge fan of, because you and I both could agree, Mark, the soil is not what it used to be. Organic isn't per se organic like it used to be. And you really need proper supplementation to augment what you're eating with your real food. But it's got to be the right supplements. It's got to be stuff that's absorbable into the body, going to the right place. And, I've been approached and I've tried so many things in the past, and I finally found something that I feel I could put my good name on.
It could take years, and you're right about that. The soil is leached of many of the minerals. So, you're buying this stuff in the store, and just because it's vegetables doesn't mean it has all the minerals and nutrients. So it's tough to get all of that. Thomas Stacy, John and Michael, great show. John is a class act. Keep rocking, my friend. You too, Tom.
So are you, Tommy.
And Amy says, real food, real life. You should have one of those little trademarks or register marks on there. That's pretty good, actually. Is that your
yeah,
is
it's
that your
like real
motto?
food, real life. It's kind of like reset, real food, real life. We call it like our version of the R3 program, but not to be confused with the R3 fitness program.
John, I got to ask. I've got a friend coming on, and he's really, really top. And I don't say this lightly because, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I don't mean this inherently. I think people choose this path. Most people suck, and they can be. But this guy, this trainer, is among the best because you hear about so many. And he's coming on, and we're going to pack, but we're going to uncover the weak points of vegetarianism and veganism. That being said, do you pretty much have your people foods and balance and just keep
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of real food. The supplementation is important in between as a snack, but I'm a big fan of eating multiple times throughout the day. Keep the furnace going, because you got to eat to lose, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people say, God, I never eat anything, but they're like 30 pounds overweight. You must be eating something. Yeah. Or maybe you're not eating enough and your metabolism slows down, your body goes into starvation mode, and you put on the weight.
Yeah, you can get some people with real issues that just can't get over that. And then it's kind of a thorn and it could hold you back, and maybe you got to cut them loose. I don't know. And then you've got people with potentially medical issues that they don't even know about.
Right.
And you got to have the radar up for that too, I would imagine, right?
But I think the best thing you can do is coddle people and just be kind to people, because so many people are so fragile, and so many people just need somebody to say, I believe in you. We can do this together as a team. And
that's why we love you, because you're so positive. And the antithesis, I always tell this story, and I don't even know if this guy's around anymore. He's a top trainer. This lady came to us, heavy lady, has probably never heard a compliment from anyone, divorced, lives alone. And who knows the horror? She has to put on a brave face when she goes out. So you may not eat, but you and I, we could probably uncover what's really going on. So she came to me, and she came from him, and he said to her, it was almost like he was doing Hamlet. He was holding a skull, the way he was talking. The way she explained it, he said, how does it feel? And then he would hesitate for you to go to the mall and look in that window and at that beautiful dress and know that you're never going to fit into it. So she left. She was nice enough. She left and cried. And I tell some of these trainers I've consulted with in marketing, I go, you got to stop people. It's the hardest thing in the world for them to go to a good-looking, muscular guy like John Saville. It's a big risk, and you're doing that, and they're just going to drive by your studio and go get a pizza and some ice cream and go home and cry, and they never. So yeah, you got to always be nice, I think, at least, and not persecuting as far as, they got big some way. You see that, or?
Yeah, I do. And there's just, so much negativity out there. People do not get complimented, very seldom. And the thing is, we make it a point, find something good and someone and compliment them. Just be good to that person, because like you said, it might be the only time they get that compliment, but it's got to be a legitimate one. It can't be phony, because people will smell a phony in a heartbeat. But find something good about someone. Let them know you appreciate them, because that's a big word with us. Appreciation.
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
Huge.
We don't go to a restaurant and say to the waitress or waiter, give me this. Please give me this. Always. Thank you so much. If they're doing a good job, we make sure that we say in front of the manager or the owner, boy, I'll tell you, this Nancy is fantastic. We had a great experience here. We're coming back. The food was great, but she's the reason we're coming back too, because of the experience. You got yourself a great employee there. She's going to remember that. She's going to feel like, $9 million at that point.
There's studies, but the average person on the job would rather have appreciation than a raise. Of course, they want money, but
right.
They don't feel like they're appreciated. Shameless. Any proceeds go to homeless animals. But one of the chapters in here, which one is it? Chapter 15, compliment everyone. There's a whole chapter on that and how it's important, because people are at war with each other and they're in constant sadness. And when you're hanging down, stressed, your body produces poisons, and it's this vicious. I'm not being very clinical or scientific right now, but you're a miasma of slowed physiology, and it's a chain reaction, and it's not even worth living. And you could almost save someone if you just say, hey, man, hey, Jim, it's good to see you. Or, hey, I like how you're looking today. Or did you lose weight or whatever? So
right. You're right, because, you know, the first thing that happens every morning when you wake up, we're bombarded with negative thoughts.
Oh, my God.
You know, 75-80% of what comes into our head is negative, negative, negative. I feel like I'm a tennis player volleying all the time. A negative, replace it with a positive. Negative, replace it with a positive. And you got to do that right away. But, you know, self-affirmations are really important. When you wake up in the morning, you know, what do you like about yourself? Don't focus on what you don't like about yourself. What do you like about yourself?
Yes.
And there's a lot of things you can focus on and write them down and put them everywhere where you can see them, and keep those affirmations all day long, because we're all masterpieces in our own way. You know, we all have talents. We're all put here, I believe, by our maker to go out there and do good things, and use those talents to go out there and enhance people's lives on a daily basis.
You know, we have a mantra: if you're not doing something to help at least one person each day, you're not doing much. And some people think that's overly altruistic, but in it for the money. If you're not offering something of value that's truly useful to someone, you're not going to make it anyhow. So it behooves you to truly be that way. Betty Wiley, thank you both for helping us. Betty's a great member. She's always here. And John is helping a lot more.
Hey, Betty.
Betty's great, out all the way from Texas. And she's got a menagerie of animals.
Ah, the Lone Star State, yes.
Oh, yeah. And then Amy says, don't wait for inspiration, be the inspiration. I could tell she's one of yours.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite, you know, quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, John, going forward, you're going to compete again?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing it either next year or when I hit the big 6'5", you know, I want to do that again. Because, you know, I won shows, you know, when I was 30, I think 40, 50, 60, no, not 50, 40, and then 60. And then I plan on winning another one at 65.
I believe you will. Hey, John, you ever get this from the youngsters? They'll come up to a guy like you and they'll say, hey, I hope I look like you when I'm your age.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of that backstage when we were doing the show before. Hey, my dad's the same age. You don't look like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm more in maybe a disrespectful, you know, kid says that, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? You don't look like me now. And then there was a kid in the gym the other day, and I'm, you know, I can't lift weights anymore. I got a medical thing going on, but I do a lot of cardio and I sweat. I look like I'm dying. I'm not.
Right.
So a kid comes by and he goes, you're a little old to be sweating that much. So I look at him and I go, you're a little young to die today. I don't mean it, but the things that kids say, I mean, you and I don't have kids, but I think if we did, it'd be military school or both respect, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But
it's all about respect.
The things you do for yourself and how you've lived, and it breeds in other people. It's a matter of respect, right? Self-respect, respect for others.
Yeah, I mean, in order for people to respect you, you got to respect yourself first. You know, you got. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, yeah, it's not an arrogance thing, but you know, to go out there, I think people allow themselves to be walked on sometimes by their attitude. You know, don't let yourself be a doormat. You know, go out there and be positive. Go out there and contribute to the world. Be a good person, and people will, they'll respond in kind.
It's true. And listen, we've had a lot of people on here tonight, and we did this quick. I got John on. I think we scheduled this yesterday, right?
Yeah, we did. We actually had a night free.
Yes, we got a good number of people. But John, you're really big in weddings, Halloween dances, Denise and I, and you, of course, held sway over the what do they call it? The festivities, I guess.
Right, the festivities, sure.
But if anybody wants to hire you, get in contact with you, how do they do that? I'll type it in right here.
Well, they go right to johnsavilleentertainment.com, johnsavilleentertainment.com, or just call. And I give people my cell phone because I want to talk to people myself. johnsavilleentertainment.com, and the cell phone's right there. And I'm proud to say that we earned the Wedding Wire and the Knot Award for favorite DJ company for 2020.
Wow.
So that's something you can't buy. It's something you have to earn. I got 4 DJs in my company. We do multiple weddings. We're booking into 2022 right now. And it's fun. We have all kinds of music. No matter what you want, we have it all. We're classy, but fun. And I'll say one thing. Nobody sits down when we DJ.
Me either. I was even dancing. And that's,
I know. You're amazing. Yeah.
Me getting shocked or something. John, with COVID, did it really disrupt things, or are people coming back now?
It did. It did. From like March to about July, August, everything came to a standstill in the hospitality industry. And it's still got a long way to go. but I've done like 8 weddings in the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Wow.
They've all been great. People have been jonesing to get on the dance floor. They feel like they've been in prison for the past several months.
Oh.
And they're still exercising, the physical distancing and all that. But we're booking heavily right now. I mean, it's picked up for us with booking for 21, 22. Incredible over the past 2-3 weeks.
Listen, even though John's a friend, and I don't use that term lightly because I spend most of my room alone. I don't even see a lot of people. You know, I'm building a new business, John, as you know. And you read this and you know this, and you is the top 3 people you're around the most. I'm not around. I'm around 2 dogs, and that's it. So that's why. No, listen. Every night I get to talk. This is so cool because even you, listen. Anybody who's on there, I hold in very high esteem. And you know, we're talking to people that you and I read about in the magazines in the 70s and 80s and see on TV. You know, this technology now we can talk to anyone. So in a way, I'm around people this way. But you want to give me your cell phone also for people to get in touch with you?
Absolutely, because I love doing that. I want people to talk to the owner. I want them to talk to me directly. I love that.
Your cell?
It's a 203 988 0658. Got my brand new iPhone 11 Pro today, so I'm happy.
Not me. Spartan Physique. You both look great. What is John's cardio routine to get ripped? Did you do any cardio to get ripped?
You know, I don't do a lot of cardio. You know, no. I never really have. You know, I mean, I move real quick. I do a lot of circuit training, but I've never really had to do a lot of cardio. So I've really been, you know, fortunate that way.
You know, I could have predicted that because even back in the 80s, listen, our gym had a one of those bicycles with a strap that you tighten, and that's how you got the resistance. And it was used as a coat rack. I know it sounds cliche, but there was no Stairmasters, none of that. And, you know, I guess guys back then, even the IFBB pros, they'd run maybe a little bit, bicycle, Frank Zane. But for what you do, I think to get ripped was increase the intensity, supersets, giant sets, machines, not so much free weights. Are you mostly machines now?
Yeah, I do a lot of machines. I do some free weight, but I pretty much get everything I need right now. Because again, you know, you and you don't even have to go heavy, as you and I know, because it's an abstract. You know, the body doesn't know how much weight, whether it's 10 pounds or 50. It's all about how you do it. Sometimes you do it a bit slower. Sometimes you do it quicker, just to vary it up, keep it predictably unpredictable. But, you know, I don't really work out super hard. You know, I have fun with it.
John, is there a way for people to get a hold of you via for your health business? Is that a different entity?
Yeah, same thing. If anybody ever wants to talk to me about it's basically a green-based shopping club business, kind of like Amazon. They can reach out to us when they can talk to us about our weight loss nutrition program. And the thing is, you know, we're not hardcore sales. I put that right out there. We just share it. We say, listen, I'm going to share with you something. If it makes sense, fine. If not, that's cool. We're still friends anyway. And like Patty and I would say, we can always gain a new friend. Whether you say yes or no, that's your right to say yes or no. But we just feel like it's our right. We want to go out there and share what we have with people. We think we have a major gift, and we want to share. I just got a message from Mike Katz.
Oh, where?
Junior. He just said thanks for the happy birthday mention. Okay.
Oh, you got it on yours? I don't see it here. That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm getting Facebook. I'm not getting names from everyone. You know, it's a new system. I've got to tweak it. Facebook user, I liked your comment about self-respect. It's often confused with arrogance. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've always felt arrogance comes from lack of self-respect. Do you think that's true, the arrogant thing?
I do. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. Just go out there and be good to people. It's okay to be confident and positive, but it's all the way you do it. Be confident, but also be grateful. Be humble. You know,
John, you've worked with some of the most famous people in your industry. I've seen them on Facebook and whatnot. You know, some of the big time artists and singers and whatnot. The real successful ones, would you say they're pretty well grounded and nice because they?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met any entertainers, and I've been in various formats. I've done it all. You know, rock, country, blues. You know, pop. I met so many people over the years, and I would say most of them are just really cool. They're really grounded. They realize that they're no different than any of us. They just, you know, are at the right place at the right time. But I find especially the country entertainers, they seem to be the most down to earth overall.
Really?
It's been my
my
experience over the past 40 years.
Why do you think that's true?
I think because of the upbringing, a lot of them, you
How's
know,
it
just really big in values.
You're talking about a Southern upbringing?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of them have been that way, but also there's also been a lot of that in other formats too. But I just think overall, generally, the country entertainers have been the most down to earth. They understand where they came from.
Who's your favorite that you've worked with?
Oh God, there's so many of them.
Got to choose one, just like Highlander. In the end, there could only be one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, probably the biggest country superstar of all
John,
time.
name a few. Name three. Your three favorites.
Garth Brooks is an amazing entertainer.
Wow.
Garth Brooks is as big as it gets, but he's humble.
He really
he's never forgotten his roots. You know, people like Garth come to mind. He's got so many people over the Rascal Flatts. You know, those guys are just so genuine, so down to earth. Brad Paisley, you know, in the country field.
I like it.
They're just they come to mind. Pretty much all the entertainers in the country field. But I met so many of the rockers back in the day when I was with PLR and KCI. But those guys are great too. But the country artists just seem to be the most genuine for some reason.
What'd you think about Eddie Van Halen recently?
Love Eddie. I was on the radio when Eddie Van Halen passed away.
Wow.
I was on the River 105.9. I got the news, and we went all wall to wall Eddie Van Halen for the rest of the afternoon and night.
Wow. Why don't we hear about Leanne Rimes anymore?
Leanne Rimes, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. I hosted her concert at the Hartford Civic Center.
Oh my God!
Way back in the day with Alan Jackson, and what a tremendous singer and talent. But haven't heard anything about her.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it up, because and who's the other one? Really good country singer, younger. I mean, you probably name a couple, but I was just wondering how they work.
Pretty much a lot of the folks you're mentioning right now are not really part of what's going on with country now. The country music field right now is pretty much very contemporary, very current based.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's become so big. It kind of infuses a little country, but also with some of the hip hop leanings, and that's brought in a whole younger audience.
Do you think that perverts it a little bit though, as far as its pureness, if you would?
I mean, some people, but the thing is, you have to grow. You have to change with the times. I mean, I remember doing country. I've been involved with country radio for 40 years. And I remember back in the 80s when Alabama came up.
Oh, I love that.
People, they're not country, they're rock and roll. Garth Brooks, he's not country, he's rock and roll. Every generation goes through that.
Whoops.
Well, I think we have a phone call coming in here, so we'll just decline that.
That's okay. Facebook. Oh, that was you, Doc or Doug Brown. With the self-respect comment. Yeah, Doug. Thanks for that. I can always tell, Doug. You bring statements and questions. Thanks for that, Doug. Doug, there's a link you got to click at the top of the chat box, and it'll enable your name to be shown. Did we lose John's visage here?
Okay, so I think I can't see you at the moment, Mike, because somebody.
All right. Well, listen, we're just about we're
about done anyway. Yeah.
I know I took you far afield from your schedule because you're very busy and you've got all.
Oh no, this has been an absolute honor.
A lot of fun. I hope I could have you back on. Maybe we could see you again. Well, listen, Denise and I have got to come out to Amaranti's, right? Is that
Amaranti's typically every Thursday night from 5 to 9, playing some tunes. They got 5-star food, 5-star dining, with like 2-star pricing. And I play the music, smooth jazz, soft pop, soft rock, soft country, do some shout outs to people, maybe celebrating a birthday or anniversary. It's like one big living room.
John,
you want to come out sometime.
Speaking of
we have a costume, all costumes this Thursday night between 5 and 9.
Speaking of birthdays, it's Denise's birthday week, the first week of November. She doesn't have a birthday. She has a birthday week. So maybe I could bring her down next week because we're going to Boston for the weekend. I'm going to write that down, Amaranth. So you're there Thursday, November 5th.
Typically Thursday. So that would be Thursday, November 5th that you might be able to come out. And I'll be there the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. And, of course, we're not going to be there on Thanksgiving.
No. So listen, everyone. This was a real honor and delight having John here. He's truly a good friend. He's one of those guys, I don't see him a lot, but when we do meet up, it could even be a couple of years. It's like nothing changed. He's one of those types of friends. And you get this good feeling around him. And he offers a lot of fun services and useful services. So I put all his contact information up. You can pretty much get a feel for everything he offers at johnsavilleentertainment.com. It's right in the chat box. He even offered his cell phone number 203-988-0658. Hey, John, when I can't sleep, which is every night, can I call you at 3 a.m. and hear some of those dulcet?
Oh, the phone will be on silent at that point, Mike.
Okay, I won't do that, man. Not sleeping is torture, man. I got to tell you. Thank you, Patty Kaiser, Saville. Great show. There's a little bit of, what's it called, nepotism? I don't think it's nepotism, but what else are you going to say, Patty? You might be like Denise, and you give it to John if he's slipping a little. You give it like none of this MTFU, Johnny.
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Thomas Dacey. Well, at least we can see you tonight. Yeah, that's true. Tom, thanks for being here, and thanks everybody. So listen, we'll have John back. He's local. If you need a DJ. And what shows are you on right now? What radio stations or shows?
Okay, I'm on Country 92.5 typically every Saturday and Sunday afternoon. And then I'm also on the River 105.9 on Sunday mornings, Kiss 95.7 on Sunday nights, and I do a ton of fill-ins all during the week.
And John, that's fantastic. And I'm chagrined that you're blacked out because I always have the guests throw an obligatory bicep at the end. And I know you would have held up admirably because those pythons are always struggling to get free of those sleeves. But John, I want to thank you, man. This has been fun, and you did me a real solid. And I'll talk to you soon. We're going to see you next week. I've already told Denise, so there's no way out.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you for the honor and privilege of being here. I want to thank everybody who participated, and thanks for the kind comments out there. And just happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday season coming up, and God bless you all.
John, it did me very well. And just before we leave, thanks everyone, and I'd appreciate it if you think it's worthwhile, give us a thumbs up, a share, because when you do that, there's a metric in cyberspace here. The more thumbs up you get and the more shares and comments, the more they disseminate and share our information, and we're able to help more people. That's the way it works. So if you do that, I appreciate it. It doesn't take a lot. Or if you thought it sucked, or my end, because John, not John, tell me that too, because I'll always work on that. Because I do a lot of things, but I think sucking ain't one of them. But John, thanks a lot. Patty, I'm at you on through this.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, John, you have a great night, and good night, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday with New York Yankees World Series winning coach Dana Cavalier. That's Thursday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.